Hey guys, Anthony Beckham here, and today we're going to be talking about the Roseburg, Oregon housing market and what economists are predicting are going to happen to our homes values in 2021. So is what you're hearing about another market crash coming up, is it true? Or are we going to get left in the dust with how fast these home values are going up if we don't buy now? Well, these are some of the questions we're going to be answering today, so let's hop right into it. Even in 2019 and in early 2020, before any of us even knew what COVID-19 was, we were already in a housing shortage. Between our strong economy and just the overwhelming amount of people that are moving here, there just wasn't enough homes on the market to supply the demand. And because of that, prices continued to increase. In 2020, we were expecting that as we went into spring and summer months, of course, we would see those values trending upward along with the demand. But by the time that we hit fall, winter, especially with it being an election year, we expected to see some of that die down. However, that never happened. With the amount of demand that we've been seeing, we see multiple offers on almost every property. It seems like everything goes pending within a handful of days, and it really has just become a very competitive and somewhat frantic real estate market. For those of you that haven't shopped for a home for a while, it may come as a surprise to you that the market is so competitive when you've probably heard that a lot of people are unemployed and have lost their jobs, maybe they're going into foreclosure. And while this is probably true for some people, you gotta think with the restructuring of a lot of people's jobs, more people are working from home. That's also opened up the ability for people that live in the more populated cities and states around us to be able to move here and work from home. Not to mention, a good quarter of our buyers are usually retirement age, meaning they aren't affected by that unemployment rate. And frankly, until we see more supply on the market, prices are going to continue to increase along with demand. So you may be asking, how long is this going to go on for, and are we going to see a similar market in 2021 that we saw in 2020? Well, the housing market is going to have to level out at some point. We can't continue to see these double-digit percentage increase in our home values year after year. It's just not sustainable. So when looking at the Roseburg, Oregon housing market, and really any market, real estate is going to go up and down just like any other investment. But we're not really going to see that level out until there's more homes on the market to fulfill that demand. So that brings us to, what about all these people that are in forbearance or haven't been making their mortgage payments? Isn't that going to lead to a bunch of foreclosures? I've heard a lot of people compare where we're at right now to, say, the 2008 bubble before the housing market crisis, where values dropped dramatically. And there are a few reasons why I think that this time is going to be a little bit different. If we were to compare this to, say, how people were affected back in the 2008 crash, one big difference is that most of these people that are in forbearance, as long as they bought 12 plus months ago, they likely have enough equity in their home that would cover the cost of the sale, meaning we're not going to see as many short sales and foreclosures as people may expect because of the amount of equity that these people have in their homes. Well, of course, we're gonna see some people go into foreclosure in 2021. I mean, there's over 100 foreclosures that happen in Douglas County year after year, and really that's just part of a regular market. Where it would affect the supply and demand and maybe level out prices or start to bring them down would be if we saw all foreclosures go on the market at the same exact time, where it really affected the supply and demand. But that just isn't likely to happen. Banks are doing their best to work with those who were affected by COVID-19 with payment plans, extensions, and forbearance, because they don't want to foreclose on homes. That's not the business that they're in. They would much rather work out a payment plan so that they can continue to receive those payments. It actually costs the bank a lot of money to go through the foreclosure process. And something that you guys may not know is that oftentimes the foreclosure process can take years. Even if they started foreclosing on these homes now, we may not see those foreclosures actually end up on the market until 2023 or later. And while I don't have a crystal ball, I think that we can confidently say that for those of us that were hoping for a big 50% clearance event on Roseburg, Oregon real estate are going to be kind of disappointed, because I don't think anything like that is going to happen anytime soon. Of course, looking at the statistics and trends, we know that the market is going to level out at some point. It's just a matter of when. And with things being the way that they are right now, it looks like 2021 is gonna be another year of strong increases in home values here in the Roseburg, Oregon area. Now, let's take interest rates into consideration. Our interest rates, we're now seeing people come through with 3% and under home loans again, which they've hit record lows. I don't even know how many times between 2020 and now early 2021 with where the rates are and how they just keep decreasing. And some are saying that it is going to keep trending downward, which I just think is crazy. And of course, with that, it's increasing people's buying power. And when you see that, prices tend to go up. Let's take a average price home, medium price home here in Roseburg, Oregon at around $300,000. A $300,000 loan would equate to a principal and interest payment of $1,432 at a 4% interest rate. While let's say a $350,000 loan would equate to a $1,475 principal and interest payment at a new 3% interest rate. Even this example shows you how much a 1% decrease in interest rates can impact the real estate market. If now people can afford something that's essentially $50,000 or more than they could last year, that is going to drive up the prices. And then think about all the people that are renting right now. If you're a renter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Rental rates have just continued to go up in this housing market shortage. And whenever you see that interest rates have gone down and that you could essentially buy a home for as much as you're paying in rent, that only adds more buyers into the mix. Another thing that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon is our lack of supply. Of course, we just have more and more people moving here. There's only so many homes here in Roseburg and probably not enough new construction going on. So if we're looking at the supply, we're expecting spring and summer, of course, there's going to be a lot more listings coming to the market and a lot more people taking advantage of the improved equity. But it's likely not going to be enough surge of listings on the market to truly affect the supply and demand. We've also seen that more homeowners are just deciding to hunker down and stay put. People that otherwise were thinking of maybe upgrading and into bigger homes are now a little bit more cautious about taking on these larger mortgage payments if maybe they don't feel the same job security. And many homeowners are still concerned with COVID and don't necessarily want a bunch of strangers walking through their home, which of course doesn't help our lack of inventory issue. So let's do a little recap. Interest rates. Interest rates are at all-time lows and it seems like they just continue to trend downward. Of course, this can't happen forever, but with interest rates where they're at right now, they're going to continue to stimulate the housing market. Lack of inventory. More people are hunkering down. They don't want these strangers that could possibly have COVID be walking through their houses. And maybe they don't want to take on a larger monthly payment when they don't know if they have the job security that they once did or if the government's going to do another mandatory economic shutdown. Unemployment. Yes, our unemployment numbers have gone up, but we haven't seen it affect the real estate market really much. I think that more and more people have seen that their work has just been restructured to where they can work from home. And this has also brought in a lot of professionals from other areas that can now live in a place like this and just work from home. Foreclosures. While we will likely see some foreclosures unfortunately come out of the pandemic, it isn't likely to affect our 2021 real estate market. many of these foreclosures may not actually end up on the market until 2022 or 2023. And of course, the banks are doing their best with the forbearance and other programs to allow people to stay in their homes. Recession. Are we going to see a recession in 2021? I'm sure with everything that we've talked about today, you see that that isn't likely unless we had a big surge of supply, which isn't likely to happen anytime soon. I do think that our supply is going to go up this year as more people are taking advantage in the spring and summer of the equity that they've accumulated, the crazy amount of appreciation that we've seen over the last couple of years. But it's not going to be enough to affect the supply enough to really bring down prices. And to be honest with you, people have been talking about a market crash for the last handful of years, and it has continued to go up year after year. If I would have bought more homes 5 years ago, I would be a millionaire right now because of how much the market's gone up since then. So I hope that you guys found all the info today helpful. Of course, if you have any questions, go ahead and pop those comments below. Don't forget to tap that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos all about living in Roseburg, Oregon. So I appreciate you guys stopping by, and of course, I will see you guys on the next one. See ya.